So next up, it's time for us all to embrace some chief beef belief while we talk about what's coming next with Planet Coaster. Please welcome to the stage lead artist Sam Denny, lead gameplay programmer Andy Chapel, and art director John Laws. I'm hiding, of course, over there because I called you gameplay programmer when actually, you know,
it's okay. Yeah, we'll let you off.
You let me off the hook. Okay,
yeah.
I'm allowed to make one mistake, but only one mistake. Okay, so let's get to it then. I mean, well, first of all, what do you think of our little dinosaurs then?
Did you know, it's extraordinary. I mean, I'm sure there's a few people that have been saying, wait until Jurassic World, it's going to blow your mind. And to follow that is amazing. To imagine that, you know, when we first made Gulpy the dinosaur, we'd end up with...
It's come a long way, and it's come
just so far.
They're just a little bit more terrifying than Gulpy, aren't they? Just a little.
Tiny little bit, yeah. So, getting right to it, if you don't mind, Sam, sorry.
Oh, no. It's
Yeah,
like, no, I was just going to say, it's just like, it's the stuff that I loved when I was a kid, and it makes me feel like a kid again watching it, you know. And the talk we had earlier today was amazing about, you know, the evolution of dinosaur, sort of, you know, paleontology and stuff like that. And, you know, that's all going into that game. You can see it, and it's great. Yeah, I love it.
Well, we're here to talk about Planet Coaster, of course. Any Planet Coaster players in the room?
Loads of them.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad you're okay. Great. And it's been a great year, I think, for Planet Coaster. First of all, I can only just believe that it's actually only just been a year. It feels like both a very, very long time since we had the alpha come out, but also it feels like yesterday. Yeah, as well. I think you and I were on the first alpha streams together.
Yeah,
it's come a very, very long way, and I think we have a little video which is a sort of a celebration of this, an audit of joy.
Wait, yeah, I think if you had a room full of happiness and you got the accountant in, right, this is what he would come up with. Just be amazing stuff. Just have a watch of this. Oh no, you do it. It's amazing. Boom. Extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary.
Just carry on nodding at each other now, just going, yes, extraordinary. Yes, some amazing stats and
well, just the, I mean, Johnny alluded to it earlier on with over 140,000 pieces on Steam Workshop alone, and when you consider that each of those is, you know, made up of the wonderful little blocks in the modular boom system, that's like, you know, I'm an artist, so I'm terrible at maths, but that's at least 14 billion something or other. It's an extraordinary, you know, number. So well done to anybody building this.
Yeah, so it seems to have gone from strength to strength, Planet Coaster, with every update that we've put in there. What do you think is the sort of the secret sauce that makes Planet Coaster so successful? What's the secret ingredient?
Well, there's a thing at Frontier. I think if you imagine Frontier as this big, beautiful beast, it has kind of two aspects to it.
Shield and snake.
Two snakes coming together over a shield. That's a reference to some people, I'm sure. At home, that means nothing. It's very wonderful. Anyway, the point is, as a company, we have this incredible drive for authenticity and detail and code and making that work and being efficient and clever with the way that we code stuff. And then the other side, we've got some incredibly talented creative people who just bring beautiful artwork to it. And they pound and they swirl about each other and we argue and everything. But neither side wins. It kind of gets together and it makes this beautiful thing. And I think that actually Planet Coaster is a real example. It's a pinnacle of that moment. Where we just collaborate together.
Yeah, I think we have this wonderful team of incredibly talented people who sit and work so hard on our games, and it really kind of shines through with fantastic artists and animators and programmers and designers. Loads of people who are not here with us tonight, and those who are in the audience. I can see a few. It really is fantastic, and that enthusiasm and effort comes together to bring, as John says, the two beasts together.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And we get Planet Coaster.
Yeah, some of those guys were with me right at the start when we were doing Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and 3, and seeing the transition from 2D to 3D was something like, it was quite a scary prospect, but when we realized that it was just absolutely mind-blowing, and I thought that I'd never get that development experience again, you know, that kind of, wow, you know, this is something special, and it happened with Planet Coaster, and it was, you know, it's credit to the team, and like I say, we've still got some of the guys who worked on those early titles with us, and they're, you know, big thanks to them.
Just the energy that comes out of that lovely mix of the experience and the new fresh talent coming through, I think is kind of really.
It's got a lot of history, hasn't it? A lot of, within Frontier, is a historical value.
So it's growing a new generation.
With Planet Coaster, you guys made a tool that allowed so much incredible creativity in the community. I certainly couldn't believe some of the stuff that was actually created as a result of that way back in Alpha when we were first talking about it. I think we do have a video that kind of is a celebration of some of the community creations from the last year.
Can I just say, so one of the there's two reasons actually why that was just a pleasure to watch, and it's obviously the ingenuity of all the people actually making that stuff, but also J.J. Ibsen, Jim Guthrie's music is just wonderful to build to and work. So I'd give them a little clap in.
Yeah, the video itself shows off some absolutely incredible creations. I think there's some of you were actually here today that were featured in that video. I'm not sure if you were actually in the room with us, but anyway, huge round of applause for those guys and people at home. If you're in there, if you're in the chat, please say hello. That's me, or something similar effect. Amazing, ridiculous creations.
Yeah. Well, it's such a joy to see all of these things. As people create them and upload them to Workshop, they get emailed around the office, and people, there's this like hush in the room. It's like, oh, this amazing things happened, and everybody rushes over, and we kind of fire off a YouTube video. It's incredible, and it's really, really amazing to see the stuff that people have created out of those little tiny building blocks.
Yeah, just how they did it as well. You know, the sheer amount of time. I saw some amazing stuff they did with the sequencing editor we released, and it was just. Just almost insanity, like the level of work that's gone into those. It's unbelievable.
It's the ingenuity as well, actually. When you look at it, there's things I'm really jealous about. Like obviously, there's the actual planet coaster itself.
Yeah, Phil's one.
Think of that. It's called Planet Coaster. But it's actually that when you see things like the Magic Emporium, and it's a working, functional, profitable building in the park. So not only is it beautiful, but you've got something which, you know, even if you're a manager, you can, you play the game as a manager and you play the sim, you can get that from the Steam Workshop and just use that, and your park is suddenly beautiful. It's the lovely kind of, I don't think use it symbiosis or whatever you want to call it, between the creator and the managers, and it's worked wonderfully for Planet Coaster.
It's that kind of, it's that whole authentic theme park experience, isn't it? If you go to a theme park, they have the most wonderful themed shops, but they are shops there to sell you things, and it just works for that. It's wonderful.
So we do have a lot to talk about what's coming next. So I know that we could probably talk all night about some of the amazing creations people have made. But Sam, you have a bit of a reputation.
What?
Exactly. Spoiler, Sam. So Sam.
Oh mate, I resemble that remark.
Yeah. But what's coming up? What's next for?
So today, everything we've done for the past couple of months is for longer than that, I think, since the dawn of time, basically. We've all been gearing up to the anniversary update. The free 1.4 anniversary update.
1.3.
1.3. There we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Round of applause for the anniversary update, guys. Yeah,
that's cool.
And we've got loads of new rides and management features and some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Just carry on. Sorry.
Well, no. We'll get to that in just a moment.
Yeah.
Andy. You have some there's going to be management changes coming as part of the anniversary update, isn't there?
Yes, yeah, we've got some very cool things out. Eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed in an earlier video tonight, we had a vendor jumping over the counter of their shop. We have now set vendors free from their shops. They can walk around the park just like any other member of staff. Now, we've done this because all staff now have an energy level, kind of they do their job, their energy level goes down, and they have to recharge. And they can walk around the park. And the reason they need to walk around the park is so that they can get to, this is a really community-requested feature. We are really pleased to announce the staff management building is coming to Planet Coaster.
Great. So, carry on if you want. But just on that, so it's a much-requested feature, and originally it was requested, if you like, as a kind of cosmetic thing, because people wanted to create the back of lot buildings. And the thing is, when we make stuff in Planet Coaster, we want to make sure that it extends the gameplay and rolls into the simulation whenever we possibly can. So you've not only got a building which is going to be great for training and energy, but you have something which you can clad and customize to whatever you want that building to be. It's a space that you turn into whatever you want. So it just extends that creative side too.
There's like a strategic sort of level to this as well, about where you place them, how they interact with not only with your vendors, but your janitors and your mascots and so on.
This is for all members of staff now have the stat, and they now need to take their breaks. The staff management building itself is now where you go to train your members of staff. So instead of training them within their shop or out in the field, they now go back to the staff management building to get trained. And we've kind of, as well as this, so your staff are in the building, but if they're in the building, they're not manning your shops, right? So your really profitable shops that you need to drive your theme park, they're now closed. But as you can see from our lovely little Planco back soon sign here,
Very nice.
But you can now hire extra vendors to roster to these shops to keep them going, or you can move your vendors around. So if you've got a really highly trained vendor and you want to you know, and everybody suddenly wants a Gulpy energy drink, you can send that vendor to that Gulpy store to man it, to sell it faster, to drive your theme park profit.
Very cool. I think you were mentioning as well some perks as well that you get for actually.
Yeah. So if your park is profitable enough, if you're making enough cash, you can add extra perks to your staff in the staff building. So you can give a perk for, say, faster training or being a better entertainer, and then apply that to the staff who rest up in your building.
It does seem like, again, every single time we do an update, we're adding more and more management tweaks and things and updates to Planet Coaster. And each time it adds a layer of complexity that then comes together and it just all works together in a I'm going to use your word, John, symbiotic way.
Thank you.
Yeah. But is something, well, basically, is this just one part of?
Oh yeah. We always have loads more stuff to talk about. There'll be live streams in the upcoming weeks where we get to talk about this in even more detail. So keep tuned. We've got loads more to say.
Well, we do have a video as well that kind of throws it all together a little bit. Maybe you could talk us through what we're going to be seeing on the screen.
So here we've got a vendor kind of leaping out of his shop, having a walk around the park. Actually, this time, shut up shop, because there's nobody to take over from him. But there's somebody else. Maybe they'll be able to take over. Into the staff management building, kind of coming out refreshed and happy. And then, here we go, leaping over the counter and somebody else taking over. We also have one more thing to say tonight about management. That is a much requested community feature that's coming soon, and it is picnic benches. Picnic benches are coming to Planet Coaster in the 1.4 update.
This isn't something that I ever thought I would say on stage, but please, everybody, a huge round of applause for picnic benches. Yes, the loudest applause of the night.
Well, why carry? We can just leave this.
Yeah.
So how do they actually work? How does it actually play a part in the management?
So just go into the scene. Right,
and also, it is genuinely.
As John said, we've done it. It's in everything we do. Builds to the simulation. People will remember all the way back to those early concept art shots from before the alpha. We've now got it in working. The way that this is kind of tweaked is so that guests now prefer to eat sitting down, so they will buy their food and then go look for somewhere to sit down.
Cool.
We're also, we're not just giving a couple of picnic benches, we're doing one for each theme, so you can create a variety of picnic benches, as well as little parasols that go over to them, canopies and so on. So we've gone the whole picnic gamut.
And we can't wait to see what people do with them.
No, I think it's the thing. When we're working on a feature, we make it live and put it public when we know that it's a really enjoyable feature to use and it feels like a nice, complete thing. So, yeah, picnic bench.
Who'd have thought so much thought went into picnic bench?
I know.
Hard work.
I know.
Well, it seems to bring it all together. You know, all of these features, the staff management building plus the picnic benches, they work together and create that just another element of you have to manage where you're placing these things.
Oh, totally. I mean, I lost when we first got like rostered staff in. I lost so much time in trying to work out the best routes and the most immediate ways of getting my staff around the park. And this just adds to that, you know, but it teases creators into management and vice versa, you know, in the same way the creative tools tease managers into being creators, and you get this really lovely balance to the game. So we're just always going to extend that through.
Yeah, I've played it quite a bit with the vendor management side of things, and it does add that level of detail. Like, it feels kind of more like there's more going on under the scene. You know, it's more theme park management stuff, like real sort of theme parks, and then it's really quite easily accessible as well. It's nice and.
Well, there's nothing more exciting than kind of like playing with little people, almost like lab rats. So seeing what they're going to do. I don't want to say lab rats. But you're playing with you're playing with life. You're kind of creating an interesting kind of profitable life. That's the whole point. You know, you want to make more profit. You can make more things, and you know, it constantly rolls into that lovely cycle.
Yeah.
Build more rides and roller coasters.
Yes. Well, talking about roller coasters.
What?
Sam,
Do you know that was actually a segue?
you mentioned about rides earlier on when we first started here.
Yeah.
So have we got any new rides coming to the end of
No.
Oh no. Okay, moving on. Next question.
No. So obviously, you know, we've been since launch. I think launch we had how many, John? 28 rides. 28 rides on launch, and then it's, you know, since then we've almost doubled. But by the time this comes out, it's coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, in a year would have. Yeah.
Free,
complete free. 1.3.
We've doubled that number basically. Yeah. So we're adding another 4 new rides, 3 of which we're going to show tonight. The 4th one can't show.
It's a shame.
I know, but it is really a really awesome coaster. But ride.
It's not ready.
Spoilers.
Oh my God, it's ready.
But yeah, so can I talk about the?
Yeah, of course.
I
think we've got some screenshots.
So the first ride we've got basically is the Wisehorn. This is a kind of more classic vintage fairground ride. These are normally portable kind of rides that they set up at fairs, and you know, it bolsters out our sort of vintage pack and the vintage
ready for it,
collection of rides. And there's the canopy.
Every team on the ride has been waiting for it.
Oh yeah, no, John.
There's no other reason for it.
You, John. That was it. No. Oh God, beards in the night.
Wow.
Anyway, but you know, it's got this amazing canopy. It's kind of you know inspired by sort of the real life things, and we always put that same level of attention to detail to everything we do. You know, there's all the mechanical elements there, and it's got, you know, we're getting so much better at the light sequencing now, and at night it looks absolutely stunning. So really pleased with that, and the team have done such a great job.
Can you give me again, what's the pronunciation of that one?
The Wisehorn.
The Wisehorn, everybody. Nice. Such a beautiful looking ride. And I know the Planet Coaster people who are here are being just polite, but yeah, I think they are probably quite excited about that as well. So do show your appreciation when you see these things come up, because it'll help Sam feel good. All right.
yeah.
So next one.
So the next one, again, massive community request. They wanted a water coaster, and we finally managed to suss out how to do one effectively. And yeah, so I'm really pleased with this one. This came out really beautiful. The track is absolutely stunning, really well made. Again, hats off to the team for that one. And it's a yeah, there we go. Yeah,
thank you.
Love it.
One person likes it.
It's actually stunning. You can create a really sort of interesting, cool, sweeping coaster, quite intense. But on the flip side, you can then use it as a gentle ride and have it kind of themed around with like animatronics, triggers, and kind of create this dark ride element. And again, it's lightly themed, so it will fit within sort of fairy tale or western or anything like that. So it's got a lot of flexibility. And again, which we always try and whenever we build stuff, we always try and consider the end user and the players of the game and how flexible we can make it, and we listen to them as much as we can. And again, this is the result of that. It was one of the biggest requested features of the game, and we put it out there. So
and that is called
Cascade.
Cascade.
There we go.
No, for me, it's a really nostalgic ride, because maybe I'm the only one, but I think one of my first rides was like a water chute in a Great Yarmouth, and there's something very comforting and cradling about that ride. It feels very safe.
A couple of Suffolk boys.
Yeah.
But we do have the last one to show, and I spoke about this today in my coaster talk.
Spoiler Sam spoiled it in his...
I know I did. I pretty much did. This one is basically based on a wooden coaster setup, but it's quite different in the fact it's a more vintage coaster. It's kind of one of the last kind of in the collection of gamut of, we've got hybrids, we've got classic woodens. We wanted side friction. I wanted this a long time ago. If you'd have seen the live streams back in the day, you might have seen this on a poster on the wall at the back. So took a long while for us to kind of get to the point where we could actually get the configuration right and make it work, and really pleased with it. Again, it's another vintage ride. I love these things. They've got such texture, and the sounds on them sound absolutely fantastic, and it's just a beautiful addition to a ride, to your park, and kind of adds, like I say, is another addition to the vintage pack. And lovely rattly coaster, potentially dangerous.
I think that's the thing. But what's so lovely about it is it's one of the few rides. Well, I say few, but we've really pulled off the rickety nature of that ride. I've ridden a few like that, and I feel scared for people. I can feel their fears.
Should do.
The one wooden track supports in Planet Coaster are standing, but this one is really special to see. Especially kind of get sunset setting through those wooden supports. It looks beautiful. So great addition. When
we managed to come up with the wooden coaster design, actual layouts of that, and that was the inversions and all the supports, morphing, being able to make a procedural wooden coaster was quite a big deal, and weirdly this one was actually really difficult as well, but we got there in the end, and like we say, we never show anything until it's ready, and we've got one left and it will come soon.
What's this one called again, sorry?
Hop the Gaps.
Hop the Gaps.
Very good.
Really, really nice. And that's not all for coasters, is it, as well? You've got some nice customization options coming.
Yeah, so you guys might like this one. If you watch closely, you can actually see things changing in front of your very eyes. So the community basically, for a long time, we had it in alpha that you could actually switch coasters on tracks, basically. So any coaster would be on any track, basically. So we kind of looked at it and was like, well, I want a configuration which is sensible. You can now change an existing car for another car which has the same configuration on the right track. So on these big box spline tracks, we've got, you can swap a flying coaster for an inverted coaster. But you can also go for a bit more of a bonkers approach if you really want to. And we'll have an override which basically allows you to pretty much place any ride that's technically possible on that track. So swap any car for any track. And what that'll do is enhance the existing coaster set we've got at the moment and give more flexibility to players. And we'll hopefully see more crazy creations and beautiful cinematic experiences based on this sort of stuff. So yeah, really, really pleased about that. Again, it came out. We spoiled it ourselves, didn't we?
Yeah,
at one point.
I don't know what you're talking about, Sam. I don't remember that. Don't remember that at all.
It's a difficult challenge, though. It must have been from a programming point of view.
Yeah. We have to take something that that people see out there working in alpha, which is basically kind of a developer feature where we just enable this to kind of just about work-ish. But then when we want to present this to the public to get it ready, we kind of have to build in other things, and we wrote code to swap the station sections out so that your animated stations make sense. So if you're moving from flawless to flying, the stations move too.
Yeah, because it's quite a complex setup. Those stations are really, really very complicated affairs, and it's not a case of just swapping models. There's a lot of things going on in the background, and the animated stations are a big part of that. So yeah, really happy about that, and I think hopefully you guys will be really pleased about that too. So,
It seems as if a lot of the stuff that we're adding to Planet Coaster, or have throughout the previous updates as well, has just unlocked an extra layer of creativity for the community, for the players of Planet Coaster. And I think this next thing we're going to announce is a little bit of a game changer, I'd say.
Yeah. So many years ago, I used to love playing Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and the thing I really, really liked doing was creating my own scenarios and sharing them and playing them. Mostly just playing them myself. Yeah. So I'm proud to announce the Planet Coaster scenario editor is coming in the 1.4 update.
I'm sure the chat are very pleased with that as well. I hope so.
We've got the scenario editor front and center in our Planet Coaster lineup. This is functionality we've had obviously since the beginning of Planet Coaster for development, but these things get hidden away behind debug menus and horrible text files. But while we're presenting you this as a completely user-friendly tool for you to use, create your own scenarios, tweak all your values, really get in there with the nitty-gritty, and then share it on the Steam Workshop to play with your friends.
There we go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think that's enough. Never going to stop a clap in that way. It's amazing. But I think for the last year we've seen kind of creators become absolute stars within the community, and they get watched, and their beautiful creations get shared around. And I think this as you said, it's a game changer. It kind of creates an entirely different group of people who actually are going to create probably scenarios which become well known and well played, and we're going to effectively create a whole bunch of designers within the community. So really excited to see what people are going to do with this, because as you say, we've rolled lots of disparate kind of tools into one beautiful suite to use, to the point whereby
so these are the tools that the developers have had to create the scenarios that are in the game, but packaged up in a way.
Yeah, absolutely. You can load up the existing scenarios that we've made in Planet Coaster, and you can just see how we've set them up for everything. You can change your buildable area. You can lock and unlock scenery inside and outside the park boundary. You can change your guest demographics if you want to change how families come to your park, or versus teenagers or adults or groups or things. You can change finances. You can change the refund rate multiplier, the amount of money you get back for deleting a piece of scenery. You can change your amount of loans that are available at the start. Every option that we use to craft Planet Coaster scenarios is available to the players.
It's a real game changer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, to mention that the Frontier design teams are actually really envious of the tools that you've just been given. So yeah, well done you.
But I've seen this stuff, and for me, it feels like as complex as Planet Coaster is, we've just made the usability kind of really nice and easy. But this expands the game tenfold for me. I've seen looking through this stuff, I'm like, wow, this is a game in itself, just that stuff there. So.
Well, like you say, 140,000 plus creations on the workshop in terms of designed buildings and things. So we want to see 140,000 plus design scenarios.
Might take a while to play through them, but we've got to get started, right?
I can do them all. I'll do them all tomorrow.
Sam's going to do them all.
I want to see insane ones. I want to see ones almost impossible. I want you guys to challenge me and break me.
There you go. But set the challenge.
But that's the thing, that people are going to get known for their fiendish parks, or just the really beautifully enjoyable scenarios. The kind of finding the hidden secrets within there. Sorry.
I sense a live stream series. Challenge Sam.
Yeah,
breaks that one
bring
down.
It. Yeah, as always say.
Awesome stuff. So I think a load of stuff coming as part of the anniversary. And
there's loads more. There's loads of stuff we could talk about. Sorry, there's loads of slides running through in the background. We've got things like research tree is completely customizable, but there's way too much to say on this stage right now.
Yeah.
So again, tune in to live streams in the coming weeks where we'll be explaining loads more and showing you lots more of the scenario to action.
And a possible coaster, another coaster.
And a possible another coaster, fantastic stuff. Yeah. I think we've got one last little video for you as well. It's just a kind of celebration and a little bit of a roundup of the last year of Planet Coaster. Please, a huge thank you to John Laws, Andrew Chappell, and Sam Denny. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I think that's exciting stuff. And if you haven't already picked up a copy of Planet Coaster, I think I might have sold a few copies tonight from showing off some of that cool stuff.